Good afternoon, everyone. We're here at the Vibe Conference for another Beat Executive interview. And I have the pleasure to be joined today by Matt Roberts, Healthcare Business Lead at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Having a good conference so far?
We are. Lots of good meetings, lots of activity, which is exciting, and more importantly, a lot of good opportunities.
Yeah. A lot of talk on AI out there.
A lot of talk on AI, a lot of noise, unfortunately, right? So hopefully today we can kind of dissect what AI means for us in the world of networking.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about your strategy, this kind of AI native, self-driving networking approach?
Absolutely, yeah. When you look at the way that networking has traditionally been done, there's not been a ton of data science that has been extracted from the network and then applied, right, to really what we like to say is take blind spots out of the network. So the way that we apply data science and artificial intelligence is the way that we build it in and we take it across the network. And really what it does is it provides a new means of operation around the network. So we've moved well beyond the marketing hype, right, that has existed around what AI truly means. You look at autonomous vehicles and you start somewhere with maybe a little bit of cruise control, right? And you get to the state of where we want to go as a self-driving network where you set it and forget it and you touch it. And the way we like to look at things is, the expectation around a network is like I walk up to a faucet and I turn water on and what do I expect? I expect clean water to come on, right? Or we expect when I flip the power light, electricity to kick in. And so if we see the network as being part of like a utility service where, again, we can have the controls built into it to be intelligent, to be secure, we're at a different state of operation.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And so HPE had an acquisition recently, Juniper.
That's right.
So can you tell us a bit about that and the impact to providers who are modernizing their infrastructure right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So HPE acquired Juniper last year. It was a $14 billion acquisition, so it was big. And essentially what we're seeing in the marketplace is with the acquisition of Juniper, it allows HPE networking to now expand where, let's say, there were spots where HPE networking did not play in the past. So campus and branch networking was always there, but now you get into the world of data center networking and AI for networking, and you get in for networks that are built for AI, GPU clustering. You also get into the world of firewalling and security and building security posture into the network and not just bolt it on. So what it's done is it allowed the portfolio to expand and really serve more customers and really solve a lot of pain points that have existed for many, many years.
Yeah, that's great. And, we see a lot of new technology on the show floor here, but health IT is traditionally plagued by legacy systems. And many times they're scared to change those systems because of a fear of a disruption in care.
Right.
But what advice would you have for modernizing your infrastructure without that disruption to care?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at healthcare IT, like you said, not always first movers by any means. We have to make sure that everything is a rock solid foundation, because if you look at the way healthcare IT has evolved, everything relies on the network. Data runs on the network. So when you look at how this evolution takes place and what the opportunities are, I think one of the things that we need to take into consideration here is that while status quo can be good in some instances, the cost of inaction can be also a challenge, right? And so what's the cost of not doing something? And are you moving the business forward in the world of where everybody is being asked to do digital transformation? And so the way that we look at this is really, if you have a network that is smart, that's intelligent, that's got, again, we'll call it security first and policy driven, and you are future-proofing that network for user engagement and using Bluetooth low energy technology to do things that you've never done before, the network becomes the art of the possible. So not only are you keeping the lights on and you're providing this 24/7, 365 type environment, but you're being more proactive and you're adding a bunch of different use cases on that you may not have ever even thought would existed 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you convinced me, but you have to convince the CIOs out there.
That's right. That's right. No, it's true.
So what differentiates HPE's networking approach? How do you convince those CIOs?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So when you start to look at the world of networking, we can talk passing packets, bits and bytes, ones and zeros, all we want, right? When you start to look at really what makes the fundamental difference and shift around what we're doing, and you look across the, we'll just say the competitive landscape, we are measuring and metricing every user experience. Okay, so user experience is at the paramount middle of what we do. If you go back into the historical days of networking, you're passing packets, unfortunately, right? That's kind of what it is. And again, until the network goes down, CIO may not have to get involved.
Yeah.
So what we want to really accomplish with this new wave again of technology innovation is be more proactive, measure user experiences, and we'll go a step further is how do you engage with your users more effectively? I mentioned Bluetooth Low Energy. There's ways that you can now use the network to actually push notifications, and I don't have my phone on me, push notifications to a cell phone user as they walk into the building and say, welcome to XYZ Medical Center. Do you know where you're going today? And then if not, step-by-step, turn-by-turn navigation experience happens using what I'll say is kind of layer zero things or access points that are in the ceiling that drive BLE signals. You can locate assets like medical carts, vents, pumps, wheelchairs, anything that may move that goes into a parking lot or gets pushed into a closet.
Incredible.
Yeah, you can also do different use cases around staff duress. Unfortunately, we have to talk about it. So a lot of C-level folks have to worry now at the board level about workplace violence.
Yeah.
And how do you keep your people safe? To then serving up ways to engage with users where, again, things that may go missing like wheelchairs, providing an Uber-like experience and having a team manage where the wheelchairs are in the organization, then bring them to patients and guests that may need them, opposed to waiting 10 or 15 minutes. It can be done in a matter of quick minutes now.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
And I know it takes a village to get there. So the partners and the partner ecosystem, how important is that to this approach?
Partners are massive. So our whole go-to-market is partner-driven, okay? And so we put our livelihood in the hands of our partners as well. And we also see that as, it's a three-legged stool, right? When you start to look at things. And so our partner ecosystem continues to expand. You get into the world of, it could be voice over Wi-Fi, medical device community. It could be niche security partners, right? That may fill a void what we don't do. There's so many different partners that play. So it's not just a value-added resell.
Yeah.
It's not just a global system integrator, but it's also some of our boutique partners that play a key role in this marketplace that help coach and consult, right? When you start to look at digital transformation and what network transformation or a security posture transformation, needs to consider when you go through this process.
Hopefully you met some good partners here this week.
We did. Yeah,
okay.
we did.
Amazing.
Yep.
So will you leave our audience with your vision for the future, maybe just the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's tough because things are changing, right?
Yeah.
Things are changing. What I would say to any folks that are listening in is the network just continues to get smarter. I'll go back to what we talked about right at first, a self-driving network, right? Where we've got an AI capabilities that are now built into the network. Networks are only getting smarter. So if you can have digital twins, virtual network assistants in which we have built into the network to help your operators become much, much more, I'm going to say hands-on, but more observer modes, and your seasoned engineers only alerted to dig in at, let's say, 2 a.m. in the morning and push these things to help desk operations, your whole operational model will change. And the network's right at the center of it. And again, makes the organization only smarter.
Yeah.
It does.
Do you think digital twin will be the next buzzword?
I think it's here.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to stay here for a while.
Good. Yeah.
It is, because a digital twin, we've seen our digital twin, which is under a moniker called Marvis, make just a phenomenal difference when you start to look at simulating user connections that are on the network with actually having users present.
Amazing.
And makes a fundamental difference when you start to look at network observation and, again, behavior.
Yeah. Well, I like your vision for the future.
Yeah. Well, thanks
for joining us today.
You're
and
welcome.
Thanks for everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you.